Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 2 of The Visitor, where I talk about faith with other people so we can get a better grasp on how we can handle each other in this day and age. Today, I have a very special guest, a very good friend that goes back quite a few years with me. She is an amazing person. She is the creator of Cooking Basically, and she's going to tell us about her faith. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Alyssa Long. Alyssa, hello and welcome to the show.
Hi.
So, Alyssa, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Who you are and what you're about.
Well, my name is Alyssa, and I live in Illinois. Um, my journey through kind of my faith and beliefs and stuff has kind of been a roller coaster throughout my 40 years of life. Um, but I'm more at peace now with my beliefs than I have been in a very long time. Um, I feel very peaceful at what I do. And I kind of have stepped away from the mainstream churches, um, and I kind of do my own spiritual side of things. Um, I am a huge believer in energy because energy speaks. Energy says a lot. And so when I discovered how energy works, the more I discovered it, the more it made sense to me. And that involves everything in from my cooking to my plants to everything in between. Um, I am a medium, as well as I have other abilities in that area. Um, I'm honestly somebody that has been searching for my place in this world, and I finally found it. Um, I grew up pretty much going to church, Sundays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, you name it, we were there. Um, and it was a huge part of my life. But as I got older, I kind of stepped away from it due to some personal things. And while doing that, I discovered who I really am at the core, and that changed my life forever. Like I wouldn't be who I am right now without the beliefs that I have right now. They're the thing that center me the most. They keep me grounded the most. Through my abilities, I've been able to help people, and that is another huge thing for me is being able to help people. And by doing that, giving people answers that they may need or encouragement that they may need is a really big thing that I do and I enjoy.
Okay, okay.
You
And
know, other than cook.
I'm sorry. I think that
Go ahead.
you know, you and I have had plenty of conversations back and forth together, and you've always been a great help to me. You've always been there for me, and I appreciate that. I do. It does not go unnoticed. And I think so. I grew up in a very similar fashion. I was in church, Wednesdays, Sundays. That's just how it was when I was younger. That's what you did. You went to church on Sundays, you went to church on Wednesdays. Um, Sometimes you went to both services in the morning and the evening. It just depended. It just depended what they were going to do. Um, but like yourself, I sort of branched away from that. I sort of found my own calling in what I do. And while I still believe in the Bible and Christianity, it's a different outlook for me than it is for a lot of other
Right.
people. Um, and I try to stay away from judging people and being mean because I feel like when you tell people that, hey, I believe this, they automatically put a guard up. And on that same token, I feel like when you tell people, "Hey, I'm a medium or I have these abilities," they look at you like you have worms coming out of your ears. And I'm sure you've had to deal with this. I'm sure you've had to deal with this
Plenty.
because people are like that. People are like that. They perceive something but don't know anything about it, so they rush right into things. Um, so you talked about being a medium. When was your sort of first experience with that, and how did that make you feel being able to sort of engage in that side of life that not many people understand or don't practically know at all?
My very, very first experience, and I didn't realize at the time what was going on. Um, as a kid, I would have these realistic dreams of my grandma who had passed away when I was 12. And she was talking to me, and she was like literally feeling like she was right in front of me. And I just chalked it up to, oh, I am just missing her, or I'm just imagining things, or it's just a random dream. I kind of pushed it to the back of my mind when I was a kid. Fast forward to I met my husband, and we started getting into kind of the paranormal stuff, and I started digging into being an empath. And when I started digging into empath, then I started finding out about mediums and things like that. And it clicked with me. It was like a light switch just went on. Like, I realized that that dream that I had as a teenager, that I've had multiple of them with her, um, was her talking to me. And I didn't realize it at the time. Now, it we used to live at a lake house, and this was early on in my ability stuff. And I was in the bathroom, and I heard somebody call my name. That's not a place that you want to hear somebody call your name. And my husband was not in the house. Nobody was in there. I got out of the bathroom. I went and looked. He was out with a friend. And so I went back into the bathroom, finished my stuff, and I heard that my name again. Don't know who it was, because at the time I didn't quite know how to communicate back. I just was like, okay, this is kind of crazy. And I told my husband about it. And, did that kind of, that right there kind of steamrolled and was a start of everything that I am now. It, the first time that my husband, honestly believed in my abilities was when I talked to him about his father who passed away when he was really little, and things that I wouldn't have known, but I was telling him because I had talked to his dad, and that's the things that I felt from his dad. And he, like, at that moment, he knew my abilities were pretty realistic. Like, I had something going on. So he supported me in that, and that steamrolled everything. Once that started, I had spirits coming to me left and right, and it still kind of weirds me out, and I have to set rules. Like, there's certain things that they're not allowed to do. Um, but I was so scared of death as a kid. Like, death scared me. And then when I learned that I had abilities, is when I stopped being scared of death. Death no longer scared me. Do I want to die? No. I kind of like enjoy being alive. But it made me understand things a lot better. and knowing that, you know, you're not just tossed in the ground and forgotten about. It's kind of, I have my good days with my abilities, and then I have days where I'm just like, I really need to shut my brain off. My abilities need to shut down. I need to recoup myself. So, spirits, you're out for a little bit, and then you can come back later, because it will drain me. Um, it will just completely wear me out. And so, I have to kind of set boundaries like you would anybody else. You just set boundaries and say you can't do it this time, or like I need sleep, so please do not wake me up and sleep. So I mean, my first experience was just crazy because when I it's not like I hear stuff. It's usually in my head talking, like somebody's in my head talking and telling me things. And at first it weirded me out. And then I was like, wait, this has some legit value to it. And I just started reading everything I could about being a medium, about abilities, about all that stuff. And for the first time in like 40 years, I finally felt like I found my place. Like I found who I was, because I think I felt so lost for so long that my abilities were just kind of hidden. But my anxiety got calmed down when I met my husband, and that is when the abilities started to show up, because my anxiety was so high before constantly that that blocks my abilities. Like nothing will come through if my anxiety is through the roof. And so, having calmed down a lot now, my spirits and stuff come to me a lot more now. So, I mean, it's a cool and creepy experience, put it that way.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on, let's say, God? What are your beliefs and faith in that regard? You know, going along with being a medium and having these abilities, what are your thoughts on that?
It is a struggle. I'll be honest with you. It's been a struggle with me because I had a lot of bad experiences with church, which made me want to shut all of Christianity off, because I had some really bad experiences. But I I I don't believe. I'm not sure. I believe that there's totally like a a God up there in a way, but I view it more of an energy, not necessarily like, somebody sitting on the throne. Like, I don't view it that way. I view it as like an energy. And when I set intentions, like, intentions are a lot like prayer. Prayers are basically intentions. You are stating out loud whatever you need. Like if you want somebody to feel better, or you're worried about something, you say a prayer. Well, with intentions, they're the same thing. If I tell somebody, hey, I will send intentions out into the world for you, that's me speaking out loud for that person. And it's basically a prayer. But I don't know so much that there's a God as much as there's like an energy. But that's a subject with me that I have not quite settled in my mind, um, because I have to kind of get the bad stuff that happened away to figure out where I need to go with that. I do think there's an energy in the universe. I when I talk out loud to the universe, it's the energy as a whole, and that's who I speak to. Not necessarily to a god, because I'm just a little unsure of that, but to an energy out there, whoever energy that is.
Okay, okay. Having gone through the church myself and had some negative experiences regarding it, obviously, different than yours because the experiences will shape us when it comes to certain things like the church. I realized that me personally, I didn't need the church. I fully believe in God. I fully believe in Christ. These are things I just believe. I don't
Mm-hmm.
force them on other people. Um, but I realized that the church itself can be a negative influence. For me, it was seeing the pastor pretty much yell at us the whole service about how we were, sinners and going to hell. Um,
Yeah.
but his kids were doing things that were less than reputable. You're telling me one thing, but you're letting your children get away with all of these reckless activities, and you're not putting a stop to that. So I
Right.
started seeing the hypocrisy in that, but I never felt swayed that God didn't exist to me. And I'm not saying you were swayed. I don't want to put that out there. For me, it was okay. Um, More of God opening my eyes, showing me that this isn't necessarily how this works, and
Mm-hmm.
my eyes were open to some truth later on. Um, and I'm a firm believer that everybody, deals with God in their own way.
Right.
They come to God in their own way. I don't. My thing is, I can take care of myself, and I have enough issues that I need to work on myself that I can't start working on somebody else until I fixed my problems. And my problems are never ending, and not in a bad way, just that I always want to continuously work on myself. How can I tell
Mm-hmm.
you that you're doing something wrong when I'm doing something wrong?
Right.
That's just me shifting the blame to another person. And so I do and respect why you would come to those beliefs based on how you were treated in the church, because the church is just another social experiment where people can go and judge people. They feel good one Sunday of the week or one Wednesday of the week or Sunday and Wednesday, but yet they're still actively doing bad things the rest of that time. For a lot of people, it's just a feel
Right.
good thing. And so to me, I can empathize with what you're saying, because it's like high school. People talk about you, they do this, they do that. And it's like, well, that's not what we're here for. We're here to come together under God. We're here to give him the glory. We're here to be good to one another. And
Right.
we're not good to one another. So when people say they have trepidation about believing in God, I understand why. It makes sense to me because of those situations where people are like, I had a bad experience. And all it takes is that bad experience to ruin that concept or that thought concept for you for the rest of your life. And so I empathize with you on that one, because while I believe my road to this is different than yours, and everybody else's road to this is different than yours, and I don't knock other people for that, how they have to get on their own path. Like, this isn't a path. I'm not walking your path, you're not walking mine. And so for
Right.
me, having this conversation is important. Now, I want to touch on a couple other things here. You talk about having other abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think these abilities manifest from? Where do you think, you know, a lot of people say they have these abilities. We have some, and I know that you're legit in what you say, because we've had conversations and we've had messages back and forth. Um,
Right.
but how do you tell people that you're legit? Like, how do you put out there, like, hey, I'm legit? Obviously, you're not a $1 million person that has their own show about, talking to other people's dead relatives like Mr. John Edwards did, and he was
I
pointing
mean,
out in the
that would be
audience.
great.
So how do you how did you um I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how did you come up with these abilities? I shouldn't say come up. Because then you talk about your anxiety being lowered, and that sort of raises that up for you. It sort of raises the enlightenment level up for you when the anxiety is lower, which makes sense because anxiety is kind of like a your body's in a self defense mode. It's always self defense, self defense, self defense because you're anxious. Um,
Yep.
so when these materialize, how do you reconcile them with other people? How do you let people know, like, hey, this is what it is, this is who I am, and this is what I believe?
That has been a battle for me because a lot of people do not look at people with abilities in the greatest of eyes. Um, so for a while, I never told anybody, like other than my husband. Um, but then I started to discover groups online, and I kind of started getting a group of people that like I could talk to about it. That didn't look at me
Mhm.
like I had five eyes. And I still don't tell a lot of people I'm a medium. I just don't, because of their judgment, or um, you know, I have some Christian friends and family and stuff that would look at it like I was going to hell in a handbasket and going down quickly. So I kind of kept it to myself for a while. But just recently, actually, funny you mentioned this. Recently, I have started to decide with my cooking blog, as well as everything else going on in my life, that I needed to be open about myself, be open about my abilities, be open about what I do, about me being a medium. You know, I need to stop hiding from that and start accepting that that's who I am, and you can either like it or not. Um, so that's kind of, I'm kind of battling that. For a while, I didn't tell anybody because I had family, my brother and his sister, or my brother and his wife, who would have hid me from their grandkids or hid me from their kids if they had known what I was doing. But now they have backed away from the church, and they have discovered things, and they no longer follow that path really. So I don't really have to hide it as much anymore, but I still kind of keep it guarded. Like there's some people that know more than other people. Um, I try to do my readings more openly with people, but I don't always do that. It's a really tough situation to tell people, and if you tell one person, they're gonna look at you like you're nuts. You can tell somebody else, and they think you're the coolest person in the world. Um, it's really been a battle with me, a struggle actually, between hiding who I am and being upfront about who I am. And turning 40 and having everything that's been going on with me, I've really learned that I just need to be me. And if you like me, you like me. If not, you know where the door is. I'm gotten to the point where I'm so tired of trying to hide certain parts of myself that now I'm just like, if you don't like that, okay, fine. We can agree to disagree on this. That's very, you may not agree with it. That's fine. I'm not pushing it on you. I will never push a reading on someone. I will never come up to someone and start talking to them about their grandmother being talking to me, because you need to have some sort of balance. You can't just go at somebody and tell them you talked to their great grandmother like three times over. You have to I choose to, because I have gotten messages to go to people that I've not felt people were ready to hear. And so I've kept it to myself. And when time comes that I feel like they're ready to hear it, I will tell them. But, a lot of people are not accepting of my abilities. So I tend not to talk about it a lot, especially on like my Facebook, like my personal profile. Won't see me talking about it. Um, but, I'm kind of slowly getting more comfortable about letting things come in through my wall so that people can kind of understand who I am and not think I'm nuts.
Well, I for one don't think you're nuts. So
Well, thanks.
you're welcome. I know that it's a hard process because people get regimented into their beliefs. They get regimented into their thoughts, and they think, "Oh, this person's crazy." They think that somebody's got a screw loose. I, for one, do not. I don't understand it personally. I don't know. Like for me, I don't know how all that plays into what I believe. I do believe there's people that have these what I call phenomenon because
Mhm.
I don't have them per se. Um, so I look at it more of like it's an interesting study to me because with you having talked to you, having having interacted with you, um, I know you're legit. I've known
Mhm.
you legit for a while, and we're good friends too. So, I feel like I accept. I'm accepting of who you are as a person. You don't have to hide that from me.
No,
I'm
I know I have.
not gonna I'm not gonna judge you for anything. That's not what I'm here for, and that's not a good thing to do. Now, let's shift a little bit here. You have quite the cooking experience, and you have been putting that out there for everybody to see. And I personally want to say I love it. I love what you're doing. I think that you are going full bore into something you believe in. And I love seeing your progress. I love seeing your updates. I just love seeing the fact that you are so happy doing this. It's you have found your niche, as we say. You found the niche, and that's a beautiful thing. So tell us, how did all this come about? Because I know you used to do food related things back in the day, and
Mhm.
then you took a little break, and now you're back going hard in the paint. Tell us, how did this all come about?
So I got sick like about a year ago. I got sick, and I've been on a battle since then. And especially with food, because I am somebody who growing up was we were always in the kitchen cooking. So food is the kitchen, and baking and cooking is all like ingrained in me. Like it is something I love. It's something I enjoy doing, and it's something that my mom taught all four of us kids how to do because it was important for us to know to feed ourselves. And but when I got sick, I lost the spark that I had. I lost my love for food. Like food scared me um, due to my cyclic vomiting syndrome that I have. So about it was in April. My husband and I were talking, and he said to me, "You need to look at going gluten free because I have had to go gluten free." He's like, "Look at your food stuff as a challenge, like you did with me, because I went low salt for him. Look at it as a challenge." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "And we'll slowly get meals coming in, and you can slowly start cooking and getting that joy back." I'm like, "Okay." So I was sleeping one night when I heard the words cooking basically in my head. So I was like, okay. I ignored it. And a couple of days later, I heard it again. And I'm like, well, okay. So then I told my husband about it, and he's like, that's a great name for your food blog. You should start it. And so I just started, and I I'm still trying to get my groove going with cooking right now because I'm learning how to do gluten free and everything. But it lit a spark in me that's been missing for a long time. And it has gone, it's like exploding. Like I had like 1,400 some odd views today, and I was just like shocked. Like and then yesterday I did a whole 8-minute video about making kitchen work for people who have disabilities. And so I opened myself up to that. And so this whole thing has just been opening myself up to a, a thing that I have never quite experienced this passion before. Like my old food blog, I loved it. I had to quit it for personal reasons, but this one is a whole other thing. I have so many people supporting me and having my back through it. It like it's insane. Like I have so many opportunities coming my way. And it's just I just started it, and I am now on TikTok, and which is weird. But I'm on TikTok, and I'm on like all other search engines and all kinds of things, and it's going pretty good. I'm like, it takes a little bit, but I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about continuing to cook. And eventually, I want to start menu planning classes down the road.
That is phenomenal. And I think that if there's anybody out there that can pull this off, I definitely think it's you. I'm definitely proud of you. I think it's for me, and I say this on my behalf. Seeing God work beautiful things into my friends' lives is such an amazing thing, and I'm very excited. And hopefully we see you on PBS one of these days cooking up something that I can't pronounce probably very well, with a crazy sauce that I also cannot pronounce very well. Um, but yes, I think that what you have done and knowing you over these years, and seeing go from life's hurdles to
Mm-hmm.
where you are now, and I see that genuine happiness in you, and I think a lot of that is faith based for you. You whether you believe how I believe or not, I still think you
Mm-hmm.
have the faith that you can accomplish this, and I
Yeah.
think that you as a person can 100% accomplish this, and I'm very glad to have had you on the show today. I think that people need to see other people's lives outside of, say, my life, where I believe in God and I read the Bible and I do this and I do that, and somebody that is a, I don't want to say opposite, but on a different spectrum of how they on how they perceive faith and how they believe and how they interact with the world
Mm-hmm.
comparatively. So I'm very grateful that you took time out of your busy day, because you are becoming a world class chef. So you need to get some people in your kitchen so you can scream obscenities at them. I think that's probably the thing that they do. I don't know. I think that's the hot button thing now. I don't know. Um, before we close, where can people find you, and what updates do you have for people that are hungry?
Well, I'm on TikTok. So if you have TikTok, it's at cooking dot basically. I also have a website, and that is www.cookingbasically.com, which I'm so excited to have a domain name.
Nice.
And Instagram, I am on there as well, and it's cooking underscore basically underscore blog. And then I'm on Facebook as well, and that's cooking basically. You can search it, and it should come up with me. As far as updates, I am working on making crab rangoons, and I'm making wonton
Ooh.
wrappers
Mm,
homemade,
mm, mm.
gluten free. Hopefully, it works out. And I have like 10 recipes I am creating right now on paper.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
I got like I have this notebook that I write out ideas and recipe ideas for, and then I'm creating them. And so I have like 10 or 11 of them now that I'm working on.
Okay, so when can we expect the cookbook? When can we expect the medium cookbook?
That's a good name. I'll have to keep that one in mind.
Please do.
Um, that is actually one of my next goals. Like that is one of my goals that I want to do, is to have a cookbook. That's going to be a little bit down the road. I'm taking my notebook. What I'm doing is I'm writing all of my recipes down in the notebook. And then all I have to do is remake them, rephotograph them all, and then make the cookbook.
We are
You
looking
know,
forward to that. My stomach is looking forward to that, I should say.
and if we ever meet, I can bring you
We are.
goodies.
We are going to meet because I need goodies. I need goodies because I need them. There's no other reason. I need them. And seeing
And it's been a
what you're
long
preparing,
time.
it's about that time.
We've talked about meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
We've talked,
You know, our good friend, rest in peace, Todd David Anderson. He was all for that meetup. So we're definitely gonna have to get out there and get them treats. I'm excited for the treats personally. So,
I make some
and
really good cookies.
now you talking my language. Them sweets is my language. They're not. They're talking my language. Anyways, Alyssa, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I want to thank you for talking about your faith and talking about what you believe and who you are as a person. Is there anything else you want to tell these beautiful people before we get out of here?
Well, one, I appreciate you for, being my friend and hanging out with me. And even
Of
though we
course.
don't always agree on this different topics, we're still able to come have a conversation,
Yes.
and a good conversation at that.
Yes. Agreed.
So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
But to anyone out there that's listening, follow my blog. Two, um, never give up faith in yourself. You need to take care of yourself and have faith in yourself, because if you don't have any faith in yourself and you don't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of other people. So, self care, take care of yourself. Don't judge people, accept them where they're at, love them for where they're at, and create peace, and we'll all be good.
That should be the intro to your book. That should be the intro to your cookbook right there.
I'll write it
Ladies,
down.
yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another episode of The Visitor, where we talk to Alyssa Long from Cooking Basically. Please go check her out wherever she is. So if she's on TikTok, you better get to TikTok, Instagram, all the social media things, all the beautiful things. Thank you, Alyssa, for being a guest. I appreciate you. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we will see you guys next time for episode 3 of The Visitor. Take care, everyone.
Bye.